All right. Hello, Flagstaff. Good evening. You're listening to KLJX LP Flagstaff on 107.1 FM. My name is Abby.
And my name is Katy.
And we are here today with a very special guest in the booth. Would you like to introduce yourself?
What's up? My name's Aidan Bissett.
All right. And who are you here with today?
My tour manager and my tour manager's assistant.
Beautiful. Sorry, I know you guys didn't want to be on air, but we got to give you credit when you're in the booth.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We're very excited to have you here today. I just want to say thank you so much for coming in and having the time to talk to us. For those of you listening who aren't aware, Aidan will be playing a show tonight at Prochnow on campus in like probably an hour and a half, I think.
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, pretty soon. So he's going to talk to us for a little bit. And I think we can just jump right into it if you feel good about that.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to start us off, Katy?
So before becoming a musician, you mentioned that you were playing football and you were planning on playing football. So like tell me about that and like where the switch came from.
Yeah, so I grew up, I was like very sports oriented, and football was like, the one that I always fell in love with. And I was grew up playing in Oregon, played there for like 6 or 7 years, and then I and then I moved to Florida. And when I moved to Florida, I was playing for this team, and I just kind of like fell out of love with the sports. There was not the same camaraderie that I had back in Oregon, and so I made the decision to just stop playing, which was like a big kind of life-changing decision for me because it was truly the only thing that I was doing for years. And the only other hobby I had was playing guitar. So I decided to start a band. After I went to like a concert, I was like, oh, this is like the coolest thing ever, like being on stage, this shared connection. I really, really want to like basically live that every night. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start a band. Started a band. We were really bad. We were called Offshore. We didn't have a singer. And we got booked to like open for this other local band at this bar. And when we were doing like rehearsals and stuff, I was like, I'll sing. And I started taking lessons for like 2 months before the show. Was good enough,
Nice.
I guess. The videos don't hold up, but that's fine.
I believe you.
But it was such a fun experience, like being on the stage. I just knew like in that moment, it was what I was meant to be doing, and I had to figure out a way to make that a reality. So, yeah, the rest is history.
Absolutely. If you were still in Portland, do you think you would still like be doing a professional football career?
100%.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, was there a moment when you decided you wanted to play music, but it was that moment on stage when you began singing?
Oh, yeah, it was definitely that moment. Yeah, being on stage, I was like, there's just like this feeling where everything, after 30 seconds of like the anxious nerves and stuff, you feel kind of invincible, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So, okay, we're going to jump ahead a little bit, I guess, to like your debut. In 2020, you released your first single, Different. And then pretty soon after, you released I think it was your third single, More Than Friends. It kind of went viral on TikTok, as songs often do. And I think I looked today and it had almost 100 million streams, which is so impressive. Yeah, that's incredible. Crazy. Congrats.
Thank you.
So, I was going to ask, like, well, Katy, this was Katy's question, but how do you feel about terms like TikTok music or TikTok artists when it comes to people like you who have had these songs blow up? Because I feel like that's a really common descriptor, but I don't think it's really fair.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think TikTok is a tool. So I think every artist has their own relationship with the app, and for me, it's a tool to reach new eyes and new ears. And yeah, I've had some success with TikTok. I don't feel like I've really actually had like a giant blow up moment, which would be, hey, fingers crossed.
It's coming soon.
But I do agree. I think that like there is a stigma that comes with, social media and TikTok. And I think if you're an artist, as long as you're not putting all of your eggs in one basket, which is social media, and you're expanding your artistry and your vision, and you're building your world elsewhere, whether that's live shows or, visually with photography and other videos and stuff, I think that's really important. So you're not just, not just an internet act.
Right.
Yeah. Do you like feel a pressure to live up to that, or is it just always moving forward?
I think it's just a goal of mine in general. I don't want to be an internet act. I don't want to be someone who's just like stuck on an app making songs for an app. I see my music as something much greater and bigger than that.
100%.
When it comes to your actual like songwriting and creation process, what is your favorite part of making music? Is it like the songwriting, the production, the recording?
I think it's, that's so tough. I think it's like the moment when like things are starting to move, where it's like you have this concept and the music's coming together and you're hearing the melodies in your head. There's like a moment before you kind of record vocals and stuff where you're just like, oh, I can see this whole plan. I see this vision for this song. It's like almost like a drug in a way.
How do you write? Like, does the melody come to you first, or do you think of words first, then you put music to it?
I'm pretty sonically driven, so I'll usually like, because I have a background in production, I will like basically demo out stuff. I'll build whatever, some sort of a sonic bed, and then I'll throw over like gibberish melodies and then words will come. But recently I've been trying to like kind of walk that back and come in with more like hard concepts, and like I'll have like a notes page and I'll just write down a bunch of things that I'm going through that I can pull from and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So your debut album, Shut Up and Love Me, just came out past July. Love it. Great album. You already have 1.2 million Spotify listeners before it was released. And I just kind of wanted to talk about like visuals. I know visuals are like a big part of your brand, your aesthetic, if you will. So what is the inspo for like the visuals on this album?
Well, we wanted to shoot everything in like kind of liminal spaces, things that felt familiar, but you couldn't necessarily put your finger on it. And like the idea from that came from the idea of like addiction to connection, which is kind of the thesis of the album, where you're kind of stuck in this purgatory in a way of connection where you're not necessarily moving forward or moving back. You just keep hitting the same cycle over and over again. And the idea of being in a liminal space felt like the best way to portray that. And so like all the visuals were literally shot in spaces that were just kind of random or felt a little eerie in a way. Whether people, like in the Are We in Love It music video, people weren't interacting with me. They're in their own space and I was navigating around them and stuff like that. And like the flashing of, phrases and stuff on screen, everything was very much intertwined.
Absolutely. I love it. How would you describe this album to someone who's like never heard anything by you before?
It's a heart on your sleeve take on connection with a lot of live band sounds.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. And what was the journey, I guess, for you to get here? Because like I said, you released your debut single in 2020 and 5 years later you're releasing your debut album. And I saw an interview you had talked about like the EP you released and how like you thought about turning it into an album, but you didn't want that to be the album because you wanted it to be intentional. So what does this look like for you? Is this kind of what you envisioned when you started making music?
Yeah, I think that I'm really glad that I waited to like not make that an album, make this an album, just because I wanted to, when writing an album, have a holistic vision and a thesis. And I didn't really have one when I was writing that. I was just kind of like figuring out sound still and bringing songs together, and it felt more complete than the last EP before that, but I just wasn't ready yet. I wanted to be able to sit down kind of fresh and be like, what do I want to say? What are the things that I want to convey? And that all comes with intention. I think like intention is really important when creating an album.
Right.
So it was a lot of like self-reflecting and looking in the mirror and being like, okay, we got to start picking things apart here and understanding why you are doing the things that you're doing, with your own relationships, friendships, and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I have to say, I find that interesting because I guess I feel like a lot of artists who release music, a lot of singles over a period of time, those just automatically go on to the debut album. So I feel like that was just an interesting, more fresh way to, release your debut.
Yeah.
Like it.
Little side question. I've heard some speakings about maybe deluxe, maybe not, maybe so.
Working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a song that we've been playing on this tour called Crawling Back that is so much fun and seems to be getting a lot of awesome response. But yeah, I'm very much working on it.
Awesome. I'm excited. So you started the Shut Up and Love Me tour in Phoenix, just 2 hours south down in Phoenix. Now you're ending it 2 hours north in Flagstaff. What has tour been like for you?
This tour has been amazing. I feel like every tour we get a little bit better, and we whether we're adding production or we're making the set a bit more robust. It just feels like we were all really locked once we got into a groove, and the like fans that showed up, it was like they're just that much more into it after an album coming out, which is a really powerful thing. And them creating their own moments during the show and seeing which songs they latch onto, it's a very powerful thing. So it was just very validating when you put out a project. You're like, oh, I hope people listen to it, and they obviously did, which is really cool.
Yeah. For sure.
I have to ask too. So in the past, you've opened for Valley and Coin, who's one of my favorite bands, and that's how I first heard about you. And you've spoken very highly of Chase Lawrence, who is the front man of Coin. Was there anything that you took away from doing these tours with them that kind of inspired the way you make music or the way that you tour?
For sure. Valley was awesome just because it was like the first time we were really welcomed on by a band, and it felt like a family on the road, which was really cool. And they just had a very free essence on stage, which was cool to watch and be able to take and be like, oh, just let go and like have fun, because they really just had fun on stage, which is such an awesome thing. And Coin was a whole different thing. Chase has been my mentor, or I like to say he's been my mentor since I was 18. He's given me more advice on music and life than I think anybody has outside of maybe my dad. But anytime I need anything, I can just call him up, and he's taken me under his wing when it comes to writing too, and we wrote so many amazing songs together. And then being on the road with him, that's not true, I'd seen one show live and it was unbelievable, but then seeing how they work on a tour and seeing how intentional he is with every single detail of a live show, because to him, like, live it's kind of everything. Like, it's the experience, which is how I feel about live. So seeing how much each show meant to him and each moment of the show, and specific lighting, he's like, this lighting had to be here, and this lighting, he was doing it all himself, which is just, to have that much creative output and not feel drained and still perform every single night. I just respect it so much. And yeah, I could gush for hours on Chase.
Would you say like your current tour reflects that?
I think it's a step closer to that. Obviously, they're still way bigger than we are, and their production is way different. But there are definitely a lot of aspects that I took from his stage presence and the production that we do have, just keeping it for the fans. He always says, he called me like before the LA show, and he was like, don't worry about anybody else. Don't worry about your friends in there. Don't worry about the industry people. Look at the first 3 rows of people. Those are your super fans. Those are the ones who are there. Perform for them. Don't look at anybody else. And you'll put on the best shows of your life if you just focus on the people.
That's
like
awesome.
That. Yeah.
I love that. That's so cool. Yeah. I definitely when I've seen Coin, I really feel that energy that you're talking about. So it's totally great to bring that.
Yeah. So the album is still new to us, relatively, but what's next? What's in the future for you?
There's not a lot of things I can say. There's unfortunately, there's a lot of awesome things in the works that are so under wraps that hopefully I can talk about them soon. But things like even outside of music that I'm really excited about that also play into music, but all these inner workings of creativity are coming about, and hopefully some bigger shows next year too, with some cool people. So we'll see.
Do you have any goals for yourself after this tour and your first album? Like anything you want to do, not necessarily that you are doing?
Well, I would love to play more festivals. That's kind of big. That's a big one. I think after doing ACL, that was just a very eye-opening experience. Being like, wow, we belong on the stage. Not to sound arrogant, but we all just felt that we were on the stage, and we were just like, we're ready for this. We can handle a stage like this. So festivals would be awesome. I don't know. Maybe just like, I'd love to keep writing for other people as well. That's kind of new for me. It's really fun to just stretch the brain that way. And, did an audiobook recently. That was awesome.
Ooh, what audiobook?
It's for this author, Lynn Painter, called Fake Skating. She's great. Does some like YA stuff. Yeah. Fun audiobook.
That's awesome. Go listen to it.
So other stuff in that range, whether it's acting and stuff too, I think that's really fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
On the note of festivals, if you were just going to a festival, what's your dream lineup? Like, who are you going for?
Do they have to be alive?
No, it's your dream.
Okay, sick. David Bowie would be up there.
Ooh, of course.
Radiohead, Rolling Stones, Coldplay.
That was the first CD you ever owned, was Coldplay?
Yeah, it was. Parachutes. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so cool.
My dad got, he never gave it to me, but it was like the CD that he had in his car, and it was the first CD I remember like holding and like the image of.
That's so cool.
Yeah, Sabrina Carpenter.
Of course.
Yeah.
You can't have a festival without her.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think off the top of my head.
I love it. For sure.
Very classic.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, I guess to end this off, since you're playing to our campus tonight, what can students expect from your performance tonight?
Lots of high energy, some crawling on stage, lots of sweat, and some awesome guitar solos, I guess. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah,
we're excited.
We're all very excited. I think most of us in this room will be there, so
Yeah.
it'll be great. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything you'd like the people to know that we haven't touched on?
Not really. Just stream the album.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Go stream.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yes, thank you so much. Have a fantastic show. Everyone who's listening right now, I hope you're there as well. And make sure to go listen to Aidan Bissett. All right. Good night.